Looking for a super fun and fast decoration for Halloween or around the house? This is a super fun and easy DIY pickled brain. To make your brain, you can use any sort of yarn color you would like. You could even add a little bit of metallic thread if you want it to be a little bit sparkly. And you can also make it look more formaldehyde-y if you want to just keep it like for that jar look, that drained look. So any sort of yarn that you have on hand, including sparkle, you can use for your brain. To make your pickled brains, you're going to need yarn. So 200 grams, whichever shade or whichever color you want to use for your brain, 100 grams for each hemisphere. So these are 165 meters per ball. I used an 8mm crochet hook. You will also need a blunt tip needle for gathering up your brain and also stitching it together, a pair of scissors, and a stitch marker just for holding your tail together when you're assembling. So here are the timestamps. You can jump back into where you left off, and let's get started. To make your brain, we're going to start by tripling up our yarn. You could use size 6 acrylic if you have it. If not, just take your regular size 4 worsted weight acrylic, and we're going to triple it. So lay it out and just put your finger on the one end and bring a loop back across. So you have 3 strands. That's it. That's all we have to do. So now grab the end with the tail. Your tail is still going to be your tail. And just make a slip knot. You want to leave a little tail, not that big of a tail. A few inches is fine. Shrink that down and pop it onto your hook. And now we're just going to chain our whole ball of yarn, 100 grams. We're just going to chain up. So as you're chaining, when that loop gets smaller, before it disappears, you want to put your finger and thumb through it so that you can grab your working yarn and just pull it through like that. And you can even pull out a lot more. If you're working on a bed or a desk, it helps quite a bit because you can lay out this pattern in a nice sweeping motion. And now grab your yarn. You'll have your 3 strands. And now we just want to keep chaining. So you want to chain up your whole 100-gram ball of yarn. So you can pause the video, keep chaining, and I'll meet you when you have finished your 100-gram ball of yarn. When you have chained up all of your ball of yarn, your 100 grams, at the end, you want to keep about an 18-inch tail with 1 strand. And when you have that, so all I have is a little loop left, you can just crochet all the way to the end of that little loop and then pull that last stitch through, or that last chain, all the way up to secure your yarn, just like that. And now we're ready to cinch it up into a hemisphere of a brain, or half a brain. So I'm going to grab a contrasting or a different colored ball of yarn. Nothing that is going to, be too distracting in case anybody saw it, but inside of a brain always looks kind of good if it is gray. And the more yarn you use here, the easier it is. So grab about 5 or 6 feet of yarn. It sounds like a lot, but it's easier when you are assembling the brain. And then just fold that big long piece of yarn together. 1/2 you're going to put on a stitch marker just to make sure we don't lose it in our chain. Just like that. And thread the other ends through a yarn needle. I'm going to work into my back loops, but you could work in to just 1 loop on the side and it would work just as great. But anyway, I'm working into back loops. I'm going to grab 1 strand of that back loop and just bring my yarn through. I want to leave a few inches with my stitch marker at the bottom. And now count 12 stitches over, or 12 chains. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. is here. I'm just going to fold my chain over. I want to be working into the same direction. So this is my 12th chain, and I'm just always going to be working my needle from me, away from me. So from yourself, away every time. And now we're going to count 12 chains again going forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I just cover that 11th chain with my thumb, and I know where number 12 is. It's right here. So this is my number 12. I'm just going to go into one strand of that chain, or one strand of that back loop. Just pull all my yarn through. We're kind of making these little fingers. Let me get my yarn out of the way. We're making fingers, or little fingers, just like that, on the one side. So go ahead. We're going to do this for the whole chain. So counting 12 ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I put my thumb over top of 11, and then 12 is waiting for my needle. So just underneath one strand, and pull your yarn through. So you can pause the video and keep working along. You don't want to cinch them together too much. You want to leave a little bit of a space so that we can see this yarn. And that's why having a long tail now really helps. So now just keep working ahead, counting to 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Covering that with your thumb and then working into the next chain, just one strand of that back loop, threading it onto your yarn, pulling it down but not cinching it very close. And do this for your entire ball of yarn, and I'll meet you when you have it all looped onto your yarn. When you get to the end of your chain, you might not have the full 12 stitches. That's fine. Just grab the last back loop and thread that onto your yarn. Now we want to lay out our cord, or our brain, so that we can see this yarn all the way through. We don't want anything on top of this strand, just that one back loop all the way along. So start at one end and just keep rotating your rope or your chain until you can see that yarn everywhere. There we are. So pause the video, get your threaded yarn showing, or threaded yarn facing up, and I'll meet you back when it's all looks cute like this. So now we're ready to gather it up. I'm just going to lay my hand over this half and just pull that yarn up through my fingers. That's going to help these loops stay nice and flat as we gather it. Like that. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well. So just using your arm to keep those loops behaving and pulling that yarn up through your fingers to just shrink back all those loops. So now it is like a flat little caterpillar. We're just going to fold it in half. So flat part onto flat part with both of our tails coming out the one direction. Like that. So it's like sandwiched together. You can take out your stitch marker and your needle. And now we're going to tie these two strands together, or these two tails together. And we're going to do it with a hockey skate tie. So that is the same as a shoelace tie. So as you would tie your shoes just like this. We're going to loop it one more time before we pull. So that is a hockey skate tie. And now we're going to pull it, keeping everything nice and flat. We're going to pull that from side to side, really snug. And because we looped it twice, that hockey skate tie, it's not going to slip back. It's going to stay nice and snug. Now wiggle your tails back up to the center. Just like that. You want it to be in the same area where they came from. Just pull it again to make sure it's as snug as you can get it. And now we're going to tie these a few times, just like a regular knot. Shrink it down. Make sure you don't have any loops caught underneath that knot. And and do it a couple more times. Now you can go ahead and grab your other tails. And now we can give these just a regular knot, just to make sure everything is going to stay nice and snug. So now everything is nice and secure. You can leave your long tail that matches your brain. We're going to need this for sewing. The others, we can just cut off right down by that knot, but just make sure the tail you have that matches the long one, we're not cutting that. So cut everything but one tail. Just like that. And now we're just going to find that center opening. So just wiggle your fingers in near that knot and you'll find your center. Like that. So this is our ring. If you look, you can see our ring in there. That ring right there. That is this all the way around our edge. If you put your fingers in, you can feel it. It's quite like halfway down. You can feel this nice tight ring. That is where we're going to be sewing our hemispheres together. So we're going to be going down into our brain. You're not going to be able to see this when I'm actually doing it. So we're just going to be going in and then getting your needle underneath that cinching string we had in the beginning. And then just put your finger on the end of your dull needle and pull your needle through. And then we're going to go on to the other hemisphere and do the same thing, finding that tight ring and just trying to get our needle under it and then holding that tip with our finger and bringing our needle through. So we're going to do from one hemisphere to the other. So first of all, go ahead and get 2 of these made, and then I'll meet you back. We're going to join them up. So there is my second hemisphere. They're both opened up around that ring, and the ring is really far down. It's right down in there. So this is a little bit trickier. Well, it's not tricky, but it's hard to see. So thread one tail from one hemisphere, and then jump over to the other hemisphere. Wiggle your thumb in there to find where that ring is, that cinching yarn right down in there. And just go around it, underneath it, and pull your needle through. Like that. And now we're going to cinch it together. We're sewing them together like this. If you have a great way of doing it, go ahead. So from one side, underneath that string, or underneath that yarn, to the other side. And I'm going to find a spot around that ring, or around that yarn, right down there at the bottom. And then I'm using my other finger as a guide to get that needle back out. So now I've done it twice. I'm going to go back into the other side, underneath that yarn, and bring it out. And the same to the other side. So now I'm going to flip mine together. You can have yours flipped together the whole time. I just wanted to show you where you're going to be stitching. So put one half on top of the other. And now we can go ahead and pull that yarn. And now just use your fingers and go around grabbing or putting the needle underneath that ring as best you can, from one side to the other side. And I'll meet you when you've gone around as best you can and your halves are attached. When your 2 halves are together, we can just go ahead and sew our tail in back and forth from side to side. And if you can get it near your other tail, somewhere in that same area, we can give those a little bit of a knot. So there, our 2 halves are sewn together. Now around the center, you can just poke some of those longer ones back down to give yourself a bit of a definition in that center area. Just poke them around back down into that center, just so they're not long. They kind of fold back on themselves. There. Just like that. And now on the side, you can kind of take a look. It's round right now, but we can make it so that one side is pointier, more brain-shaped. We can just kind of mold it to be pointy on one side. And also the ones on the top or on the side, we can pull those out so that they're fluffier. Like that. And we'll do it on the other side as well. And there is our brain. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. I'm waiting for you in that video up there, and stay hooked.